You have two tabs open, Claude on one side, ChatGPT on the other side. And every comparison you've watched has somehow made this decision even harder. Here's why. Those videos are talking about a detailed token level comparison or giving you a diplomatic final answer, which you don't really care about. So you care about which one makes your actual workday easier. I felt the same, and thus I tried both and realized the answer was much simpler. Here's how. I gave both ChatGPT and Claude the exact same task, write a 200-word email. ChatGPT came back with a polished version, very professional, totally usable. Claude came back with an answer that was sounding more like I wrote it. Same prompt, same task, just a different feeling. So the real question is which one fits your work? Now, before we go further, here's the similarity. For everyday stuff, answering questions, summarizing something, thinking through a decision, both are genuinely excellent. You honestly won't feel the gap. Anyway, the difference actually shows up in specific situations. And those situations are what I'm going to dig a little deeper into. So here's where Claude is actually useful. Number one, writing that sounds like a person. Claude has rhythm, its sentences vary, its tone shift when you ask, and it can handle the nuances the way a good writer does. Whereas ChatGPT leans towards more polish and structured, maybe sometimes even poetic, and that kind of answers. So think like a consultant's report. It's correct, usable, slightly too professional. It's not wrong, but for everything that needs to feel human, Claude wins consistently. Number two, long documents without losing the thread. So drop a 60-page contract or like 15 emails into Claude and ask it to like find a pattern. It holds all of it. Like it will not really forget any of the things that you've mentioned. Whereas ChatGPT kind of gets vague when context gets too long. So its context window is not as large as Claude's. On real documents, not really like short prompts, this matters a lot. Number three, it actually follows complex instructions, which is a part of the context window. Like if you give Claude five specific constraints in one prompt, it follows all five. But ChatGPT can get a little drifted. By constraint four, it's forgotten constraint two. The more specific your prompts, the wider the gap gets. Unfortunately, the specificity of prompts determine the quality of your answer, but ChatGPT does not get that quite well. But now I come to the part where most Claude fans don't really want to admit, of course, including me. So here's where actually ChatGPT wins. Number one, images. Claude doesn't really generate images. ChatGPT does with DALL-E built in. Any kind of visuals, graphics, design mockups. ChatGPT gives you really good results. Second is voice. ChatGPT's voice mode lets you have an actual conversation on both the desktop and the phone apps. Claude's desktop and browser app, the voice is a kind of a basic feature in comparison to ChatGPT. And if you are someone like me who talks rather than types, ChatGPT definitely wins. In fact, I love giving prompts and I use it all the time because I can give a lot of context when I'm talking. But I'm a Claude person, so I still do something interesting, a simple trick, and I'll tell you exactly what in a second. But the third point where ChatGPT wins is the Microsoft ecosystem. If you live in Word, Excel, Outlook, ChatGPT connects all of this natively. Claude isn't there yet, and if that is your world, it matters. Okay, and here's what I'd actually say if you asked me in person. If your work is mostly writing, research, analysis, working with real documents, go for Claude. Claude all the way. That's what it is built for, and that's the work most of you are doing, if I'm not wrong. But if you need image generation, voice, or you're deep inside the Microsoft system, then ChatGPT wins. But you can also use both. Now, running both is not really a problem, by the way. Claude for writing and thinking, and ChatGPT for images when you need them. Uh, Remember the voice thing I spoke about, the voice prompt? Here's my hack. I open ChatGPT in the browser mode, give it a voice prompt, and then instead of hitting enter, I just cut the text from there and paste it on the Claude browser or the desktop app. Voila, best of both. But if you're picking one, I strongly suggest you start with Claude. Give it 30 days on real work and probably then decide. Here's something you need to know. Claude's usage limits hit faster than you would want it to, especially for heavy work. But stay tuned because the reason for this and how to get past it will be covered in one of the upcoming videos. And if you've built a muscle memory with ChatGPT over months, switching might have a real cost, which is switching the whole history, transferring the history and needing the setup time. So factor that in. But remember, the best tool is the one you'll actually use. So go for the one that you really enjoy working with. And if AI has always felt overwhelming, it's usually the foundation problem, not a you problem. The free course linked right here is built from the first principles perspective, and it's all for non-tech people. That's where I'd suggest you start. See you around.